Hey, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Let me adjust something here. Hey, happy Monday. I'm Cindy Baker, ADHD productivity coach, and I bring you tips every week to help you thrive with ADHD. So, so that is something you're interested in, not just surviving, but thriving. You are in the right place. And tonight we are going to talk about some really productivity tips for salespeople. However, these tips would help you get motivated to do whatever you need to do in your work, even if you're not, if even if your work is not sales. Um, so I'm gonna show you how to, basically to conquer um, your ADHD superpowers when it comes to sales. uh, so world-renowned salespeople like Sir Richard Branson, David Neilman, Ingvar Kamprad, Richard Branson, famous entrepreneur. David Neilman is the president or the founder of JetBlue Airlines, and Ingvar Kamprad is the founder of IKEA. And they have at least two things in common. They are successful entrepreneurs, and they probably follow at least a few of these sales productivity tips I'm about to share. But there's one more important thing that they have in common. They have ADHD. And, you know, that word it has been so stigmatized. Uh, they stigmatize ADHD as being the condition that makes it impossible for people to focus. Um, they've got, how can people not jump to conclusions when you've got three negative words in a row in the name of it? Deficit, hyperactivity, and disorder. I mean, I don't really like that label at all. But it's a lot more than that. And as you probably already know, if you're watching this and you have ADHD, you know that doesn't really describe you. You have your mixed bag, just like everybody else. And a lot of people with ADHD complain that they're either unable to focus at all, or they get so focused that the whole outside world disappears, and they get lost in the details. And if you don't have ADHD, but you know a salesperson that thrives on, deadlines and is characterized as a chronic procrastinator, then you may very well know a salesperson with ADHD, because no matter where you lie on the spectrum of ADHD, you could probably use some tips and hacks to achieve your goal. So you can't beat up on yourself. That doesn't help. But you can use some things to your advantage. Like you can turn your high energy and drive, which is a good combination in the business world, right, into a sales asset and hone your hyper focus on tasks that really matter. So here's a few, really 10 tips. I read these somewhere, and if the person's listening, I'm sorry, I'm not giving credit. I don't remember where I got these. But I've done a lot of these myself, and they do work. This could possibly transform your career if you can figure out how to use ADHD as your superpower. This is one of the things that I teach in my coaching program. I have a group coaching program, and we really try to not wallow in the challenges and the mistakes of ADHD, but to really figure out how our brain works so that we can channel it into the positive direction. Excuse me, let me drink some water. Okay, so number one, first thing you need to do is create a schedule. I know that doesn't sound fun, but one of the top habits of successful salespeople is effective time management, which is something that ADHD people struggle with. Without good time management, you're not going to be successful in sales. So if you've got ADHD, you might find yourself like starting too many tasks at once. For example, how many browser tabs do you have open right now? Be honest. How many projects are you in the middle of? You start something, you get bored with it, or you get really excited about something new and you walk away and you're just all over the place. But you may find it helpful to plan a day ahead. Walking into your day with it already laid out, knowing what to start first, can really be visually beneficial in guiding you from one task to another. You know, if you have no to-do list, then you're just going to get into a jumble of to-dos. And if you have too long of a to-do list that's not prioritized, you're not going to be effective. So have a schedule. And second is to inject some fun into your schedule. Sometimes when we, especially if you work for yourself or you've got deadlines are loose, or if you've got a lot of leeway in your schedule, it's hard to get motivated to complete any one thing. Even if you know that sales is going to bring you money, it's still hard to get motivated. So if you can't find that that you're more in a high distraction zone during the day instead of hyper focus, then you might find it helpful to really tweak your to-do list. For example, create a to-do list with sticky notes so you can get the satisfaction of taking them down every time you complete the task. I know that sounds dumb, but our brains need novelty and stimulation. Compartmentalizing each task and then turn each one into like a mini competition to complete, you know, as many as you can, as fast as you can. That can make a daily workload seem less overwhelming. So making sales calls, give yourself a goal of a certain number and a little prize if you do that number in an hour or whatever. But that makes it seem a lot less overwhelming. You crunch each post-it into a ball, throw it in the trash when the task is complete. That's really satisfying. You know, the overwhelm of an extensive sticky note list getting reduced to nothing. That's something to think about. So it doesn't have to be as sticky, but somehow inject some fun into your schedule. Number 3 is to start your day with an enjoyable task. Okay. Think of the best parts of your job and start your day with 1 or 2 of the best parts. That will get that momentum going because it's much easier to start a task that you enjoy than to force yourself to do something that is not as desirable. So part of, you know, self-care practices for anybody with ADHD is to turn big rocks into pebbles, excuse me, not petals, pebbles, or little stones. So prioritizing tasks that you enjoy can help you function well without feeling overwhelmed. And always begin your workday with something fun, one thing fun. Hey there, puppy. It's a puppy dog. Whether it's, you know, prospecting, filling out paperwork, marketing, you know, if it's something you enjoy, then if you've already started your day off and you realize it's almost noon, you know, sometimes we waste time waiting for motivation to hit so that we can do the things we need to do. But just do one productive thing and start off with something that you enjoy. Sometimes we start the day thinking of the biggest, most overwhelming task, and then that causes us to forget 10 very small things that still need to get done. And getting those 10 things done while you're not in the zone is still productive, and it might ease you into the zone, if you know what I mean. If something takes 10 minutes or less, just do it. Number 4, start your day with a win. It's kind of the same thing. Apart from starting your day with something enjoyable, choose a task that you know you have 100% chance of succeeding in. For example, create a sales script before calling about a renewal of, for example, depending on what you sell. Let's say you sell insurance. So create a sales script before calling about a policy renewal. And when you do that, you work through the rest of your to-do list with a buzz from that sure win, you know, or heck, maybe there's a lead you meant to follow up with and it's heavy on your shoulders, and we forget about those tiny things taking up all that brain space. Those are just as big as the really big things when it comes to your focus. So 5, include reasons to prioritize, prioritization reasons. For example, if you have a follow-up call on your to-do list for the day, then you can add a note stating you can potentially close the sale. And if that note waits there 3 days, those chances are getting lower, right? So that visual reminder can help, and it gives you that motivation to cross it off your to-do list. Now, number 6 has to do with time management. I encourage you to overestimate your time allocation, because people with ADHD chronically underestimate how long it will take to do something. It's like we just think magically things that we don't really like to do are not going to take that long, because that's what we wish. But that's not reality. So time blocking is what I teach in my coaching program. That's really really helpful for everybody, neurotypical people too. And some people with ADHD find it really helpful. When you're, but you know, when you're in the zone, it can seem like no time has passed, and then suddenly you're wondering, you know, who turned out the lights and when did it get to be 8 p.m., right? So when time blocking, you might want to allow an extra half an hour or more for tasks, because if you don't, adding a new task, it throws your whole day off if you're blocked too close together. I also suggest setting a timer so that you don't get so into something that you go over time and then you don't have time for other things. Yeah, there's a lot more I could say about that, but that's kind of the gist of it. 7, minimize distractions. You know, finishing tedious tasks is challenging enough for people with ADHD. So you don't want to open yourself to distractions and then restart anything on your to-do list multiple times. So I always suggest noise canceling headphones or social media blocking apps, turn off the notifications. I encourage my clients to put their phone in the other room while they're doing short-term deep focus work. You know, these things may not work 100% of the time, but a lot of people find them helpful. If you have an iPhone, there's a screen time feature where you can ask somebody like a partner to set a password that only they know, and you can block specific apps on certain days and set time limits for the apps so that you will be less likely to waste precious time during the workday. You can always scroll social media after work, right? The phone is just a huge time suck. So be aware that, especially social media, that there is an algorithm designed to keep you on the app and suck you in. So be careful about that. Only scroll my social media pages. No, I'm just kidding. Number 8, under promise your deliverables. You know, there's so much power in procrastination, truly. And when you have ADHD, it's, you know, it's practically a superpower that once that pedal needs to hit the metal, you know, a 7-hour work binge can make up for the last 20 hours that you spent distracting yourself from starting the project. Deadlines also become epic finish lines. And while you might take pride in maybe delivering your work at 4 a.m., the timestamp on your email to your boss or your client tells another story. So be careful about that. So there may be cases where you can set goals for yourself that are higher than what you set for your employer or your client. For instance, if you feel that you can close 7 appointments per week, you know, declare 5 meetings. And doing that gives you a lot more flexibility. If any prospect cancels on you, or it takes off that pressure to find new clients at the last minute. It's just it's wishful thinking sometimes, because we want to promise too much, but then what that does is it just adds so much stress. Number 9, reward yourself. This one goes out to all those who hit a groove and power straight through lunch before realizing that they haven't stood up in 6 or 7 hours, not even to go to the bathroom. You know, we get carried away sometimes. You know, and if you're a fan of intermittent fasting or something like that, that it's a practical strategy. But when you hit the finish line, reward yourself with a break. If you find it hard to start the next one, and I encourage people to set a timer that reminds you maybe every 20-25 minutes to stand up and take a break, even if it's just stand up, go to the water fountain, sit back down. So do something completely different in your break. Eat lunch, leave the room, walk around. The change of scenery and the change of focus in your brain is like a reset that you need. Sometimes you just want to barrel through and get things done. Either way, still take a break when you're done and congratulate yourself on a job well done. Because if you don't, the repercussion that many people with ADHD find is that it's challenging to focus on a new task after fully completing a more significant project. So take a break. If that's not the case for you, power on, okay? But be careful, pace yourself, and always leave enough leeway that you're not always frantically working up to a deadline at the last minute. Number 10 is to find an accountability partner. No matter how hard you work on boosting your productivity, you might still feel isolated if you don't have an accountability partner. That's what I am. You hire me as your coach, I'm your accountability partner. But and that's why the group coaching program works so well. But find sharing your plan with a partner, a coach, or colleague that can help you break down your goals into actionable steps. And if you work from home and you tend to go into hyper-focus zones, it may also be polite to put up a note or sticky note that lets your colleagues or your family know when you're in the zone and don't want to be disturbed. Don't forget to take it down when it is okay to talk to you. Of course, you're going to have to explain this to them, but it certainly helps to avoid arguments later about why you're not paying attention if somebody's trying to talk to you. And you can word it. You can say, hey, I'm really trying to work on my productivity, get better at that, and I'm going to need your help. So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to put this note up. If you could just honor that, because I want to make sure you have my full attention when you're talking to me. See, that puts it on you and not about them. So hopefully these productivity tips for sales can help you, whether you're in sales or not, help you elevate your career. If the thought of sales terrifies you and you're in a sales job, join my coaching program. I can help you. I am accepting new members right now. And what I've been doing is just offering a free consultation with me on Zoom. The only thing I ask is that you actually keep the appointment if you set one, because my time is limited. But for 15 to 30 minutes, I can listen to your challenges with ADHD, and you get some free advice, and you can ask me questions about my coaching program. I'll see if I can help you with one of my courses or the coaching program. You can ask questions, and if you decide not to do it, that's fine. No loss, no foul, right? So if that's something you're interested in, please reach out to me, Cindy at cindybakercoaching.com. And I'll send you my calendar link and you can book a call. So I hope this was helpful. Those of you in my Focus and Flow group, the free group, I'm going to send you some more resources over there. So have a great rest of your week. And just remember, you're awesome. You're not broken. You're just wired a little bit differently, and that's okay. So